Hello everyone, my name is Havian, and today I want to be playing some Victor Vran, showing you the game and helping you decide if this is a game that you should play. So you're probably wondering, what is this? What is Victor Vran? Why does he look so edgy? It's an action RPG. It's an isometric action RPG that is very similar to games like Diablo. It's a loot-based action RPG it's got a few elements of maybe Bastion. It feels like it's got a few things added in from Bastion, like the narrator or someone that's commentating on what you're actually doing during the game. But he does actually speak to the main character of the game, and he does speak to the player as well. So I guess that's an added thing. But I'm going to show you what this game is all about. I'm going to show you the game in two stages. We all know that action RPGs or loot-based action RPGs, even though they've got a story, the main game starts when the loot grind starts. The main game starts when you're actually going to be progressing your character and enhancing them to their maximum, so you can do harder stuff. So I'm going to be showing you some of the early story gameplay, then I'm going to show you some post-story gameplay. I'm going to show you the differences between the two and showing you how much the game actually changes between the two. So first things first, before I go into the story, I'll take you through some of the menus things. So you can, when you actually play the game, you can actually choose between different slots. So this is my main character at the moment. Took me roughly around 10 hours to complete the storyline. I reached level 26 roughly around 10 hours. Then I've started this one just so I can unlock the first few features of the game, because every level that you actually gain in this game, you unlock different things, whether it be features to the game, whether it be health bonuses, whether it be extra pieces of equipment. You'll get something for leveling, and there are 50 levels in this game. There are online modes. You can play with other people that are on Steam at the moment, I believe, because I am playing on the PC version. I don't know if they're going to be releasing this on consoles, but I am on the PC version at the moment. So you can play through the story with other people, and you can play PvP when you unlock it further into the main game. I believe it's roughly around level 25-ish that you'll unlock PvP, and you'll be able to do that. You gain achievements as you progress through the game, and then you've got different options. So you'll be able to change your game from gamepad to mouse and keyboard. I prefer playing this game on keyboard. I mean, not keyboard, on controller. What am I talking about? I prefer playing these kind of games on controller, especially one like this where you got evasive rolls and things like that. I did play Diablo 3 and I used a keyboard and mouse for that, and I did play Diablo 3 on the PlayStation as well, and I did try the demo with the controller, and I prefer the controller over the keyboard and mouse version. But I'm going to go ahead and actually play. So after the tutorial, you actually end up in this area here. This is the main hub of the game. And this is where you'll be able to upgrade your equipment, where you'll be able to speak to some NPCs to get other objectives or story-based objectives, and where you'll be able to actually buy stuff, sell stuff. Transmutation is a mechanic that actually unlocks later on, or a system that unlocks later on, that will let you fuse different bits of equipment together to actually create a new one. So if you got loads of loot that you just don't need or you don't want to sell, you can just fuse them together to try your hand at getting something slightly better. So you could trade 3 different swords of green rarity to it, for instance, and you could have a chance of getting a yellow one or just another green one. Or you can use it to boost the stats of a weapon you've already got. Then you got a storage chest. The storage chest is shared between the different characters, or between your different save files, so you can store as many things as you want in here and then transfer them over to another character. Then we got this guy that will sell you destiny cards. And I'll go into detail about what a few of these upgrading systems are. So let me go into my inventory. So you've got different bits of equipment. They will unlock as you progress further into the game. So I've still got 2 that are locked. At level 6 I'll unlock another potion slot, and at level 14 I'll unlock another demon power. But you do have a bit of equipment that you can equip. You have 1 slot for equipment, or 1 slot for armor. And each bit of armor will change the way you actually play the game. So some of the armor will give you more defense, some of them will give you more overdrive, and overdrive is what you actually use to cast your demonic powers. Then you'll find a few other ones that have different perks attached to them. You've got potions that you can equip, you've got 2 different weapon slots, and you can switch them during combat, which is nice. Being able to switch your weapons during combat does open things up a little bit, and gives you more time to actually react to different situations that are happening. Then you've got 2 slots for actual demonic powers, but I've only got 1 unlocked at the moment. Demonic powers are pretty much like magic that will enhance your character, or enhance... You can use it to buff your character up, or you can use it to deal damage to the enemies. Then you've got destiny cards. These are passive buffs that you can equip, And you have a certain amount of points that you can actually use to allocate these cards. And each card has their own set amount of points that you can use to equip them. So this one costs 2 to equip and this one costs 1 to equip. So if at the moment I've got 3 or 4, but as you increase in levels, you'll unlock more slots. And then you'll find there are actually some cards that will increase the amount of destiny points you have, so you can equip more cards. But you'll get more slots for cards as you progress. I think I've got like 4 or 5 card slots for my main character. And you'll get more destiny points as well as you progress in levels. So this game, it doesn't really focus too much on increasing your damage through levels. So you don't really gain huge attack buffs when you level up. It's going to be more based on your equipment that you find. It's going to enhance you. And you generally, the bulk of the things you're going to find are the destiny cards, the magic, and the weapons. That's when you're going to find. And I'm going to open up the map and I'm going to go to an area just to show you what this game is all about, or how the game actually plays. So when you go into a map, you will have different challenges that you can do on a map. You can decide to do them if you want, you don't have to, but if you do decide to do them, you will get unlocked bonuses and you'll get extra things for doing it. When you complete the game, you'll unlock another set of bonuses that you can, or challenges that you can complete. So you have a lot of replay value in there. So I'm going to go into this map and take a look and see what we can find inside. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the mechanics of the game, or how they actually play. When I say this game's similar to Bastion, it's mainly because of the role and the narrator. I mean, there are other isometric RPGs that have rolling in there, but this game just screamed Bastion to me. Diablo and Bastion when I was playing it, just because of the way the gameplay actually feels. And there are ways to actually traverse the higher places in this game as well. Usually with these kind of isometric RPGs, you're pretty much locked to the ground, but you can jump in this one and you can bounce off walls to get to higher ledges if you need to. You do have, I've got 2 weapons, I can switch between the different weapons, but you do have 3 skills attached to each weapon, or rather you have 2 skills attached to each weapon and 1 basic attack. So for sword I've got this normal slashing basic attack, and for gun or shotgun I've got this basic attack. But depending on the timing of the gunshots, I will actually be able to gain extra bonuses for it. So if I time my gunshots right, it will leave the enemy in a vulnerable state, and then my next hit will critical hit. And then the same with sword. On my 3rd strike, it will put an enemy in vulnerable, and then I'll be able to critical hit. And then my Y attack that I have here will be able to, with this Y attack, if it scores a critical hit, it resets. So let's say you do your 3-hit combo, you put your enemy into a vulnerable state and they're left in a state where a critical hit is gonna trigger. I can keep spamming the Y skill as long as it critical hits, which is nice. This game's got its own little combat system in place, but it can start to feel the same because every single sword you'll find will have these same skills attached. It would have been nice if this game if there was a wider pool of skills that a single weapon type could draw from. So let's say sword or shotguns had 10 skills they could draw from. It would be nice if those... Another dead body. It would be nice if those skills just dropped randomly on a weapon, so you'll get your basic attack, and then you'll get 2 of those skills from the pool of 10. It'll give me more of a reason to actually look for loot. The only way the game changes that up slightly is later on in the game when you start unlocking, or when you start finding weapons like legendary weapons. They will have the same skills attached, but they'll have extra bonuses on them that change the way they play slightly. But that's the only real difference, and I'd rather there was actually more to it. You saw I just done 2 slashes there because it scored a critical hit, but I'll actually get into showing you more of that. But yeah, swords will have the same skills attached, shotguns have the same skills attached. I found hammers will have the same skills attached, all of the weapons will have the same skills attached. Okay, that weapon's in this vulnerable state. And this gun's got another skill that its 2nd skill will reset if you kill an enemy using it. I should have restocked on potions. I did not restock on potions. So I'm going to see how long I can go without needing potions. So you can see my Y attack, because I'm killing them in 1 hit, it actually resets its skill, or resets its cooldown. So as long as you kill an enemy with that. I like the shotgun. I like the shotgun and the single sword combo the most, even though I'm not using them on my main character because I found some much better ones. But what I found with this game is, even though it has a storyline, the storyline was actually pretty good. It was engaging. It did keep me playing the whole way through. It's not a very long story, but it is enjoyable. But the game doesn't actually take itself seriously. I found myself actually surprisingly laughing at a few bits. A few of their cheesy jokes that they've thrown in there. It doesn't take itself seriously at all. There's some jokes that are not really... There's some jokes that are not really part of the game itself. It shouldn't really be part of the game. But how should I even say this? There's some jokes in there that you would only get if you played a lot of gaming. There's a lot of like references to other games and things like that. So I guess you could say it's similar to Borderlands when they have a few of their gaming jokes thrown into it. It doesn't take itself seriously. I mean, when you see skeletons doing Gundam style, you just know the game's not serious. You just know it's not serious. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It doesn't look like it's the way I'm describing it right now. This looks like your average dungeon crawler looter at the moment. But as you get further into it, you'll see exactly what I'm speaking about. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So it seems like I've leveled up, so I can actually check what that is. So I've got +2 destiny points, and I can pick another reward. So I can either choose to get a destiny card. Let's see which one. The moon will cost frost explosion on crit, 100 damage. Release an explosion when hitting melee. So I'm gonna go for this. So this seems to be a guaranteed chance on crit, but it's got a 15-second cooldown. I'll pick that one. But do I have a slot that I can actually put it into? Let's take a look. I'm gonna remove critical damage, and I'm gonna put this one in. There we go, and it should trigger on a critical now. So if I get 3 slashes on this guy, make him vulnerable. Or if I can do my full combo on this guy. There we go, he's vulnerable. Wow, I got 4 of those out because it kept critting. What another thing about this game that I guess would need a little bit of work is the loot system maybe. The loot doesn't seem to drop too frequently on your standard enemies. You'll only find that loot drops frequently on bosses. You can repeat the bosses, so you can continuously do those if you want to get the drops, but the trashy mobs or the random enemies you find during dungeons, they generally don't drop much. I mean, they'll drop coins. They'll drop a lot of coins, but they won't really drop weapons. I mean, they can drop weapons, but it's really rare.
And regroup. What was keeping them in this cursed city? The pieces are forming a disturbing pattern.
So at the moment, you can hear Victor Vran, or that was Victor Vran actually doing his narration, but there is another voice that does narration, and that voice is more of the one that I was talking about earlier. That is less serious, and they're kind of there for comedic value. It works. So he gave me a chuckle a few times. He gave me a chuckle a few times for sure. Some of the jokes are very cheesy though. Some of them are cheesy. And I'd say another thing about the combat system is it's at the beginning of the game and for the majority of the game until you actually start getting better equipment, it feels very 1v1. Even though you can attack multiple enemies with certain skills, it feels like you're going to be attacking single enemies a lot, and then you'll get one skill that will do AoE attacks. But for the most part, and while those skills are on cooldown, you're going to be slashing one enemy at a time most of the time, which is something I'm not really used to. I can't really say whether or not I like it or dislike it at the moment. It's different, but I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe I don't like it. Maybe I don't like it. I'm unsure at the moment. I'm unsure at the moment. Because I'm very used to playing games like Diablo, where you're just spamming like your attacks, things are getting destroyed everywhere.
You, old friend. I've been expecting you.
And in this, it's like single target. I would rather spam my skills and destroy loads of enemies at a time. But you'll get yourself into situations where you are actually fighting loads and loads of enemies, but you'll have skills that don't really hit loads and loads of enemies, which kind of makes it feel a little bit wonky. Alright, so that was my demonic power. You can actually trigger that on the right trigger. As you progress further into the game, you'll be able to unlock a second one. Alright, let's keep on going inside. See what happens as we get further in. So I've got 1 potion left, that's great. I've got 1 potion left, and we've got a boss coming up. That's because I didn't actually restock my potion. So I'm gonna have to just see how well I do this with just 1 potion. Let me equip some better equipment. So this is actually the first boss of the game. It's very early into the game, so there's not really anything that should be spoiled for you lot. So here we go. So the bosses in this game are actually pretty interesting. They have unique mechanics, and there's quite a few bosses from what I've seen so far. So for this boss, there are totems that he spawns, and you need to actually destroy the totems because the totems will drain HP from you and give the HP back to the boss. So you need to make sure that you can destroy those totems before he regains his HP back. So I need to make sure I don't take too much damage from this guy.
The time of the hunters is over, Victor.
And I probably am going to take a lot of damage because I don't actually have... I don't have any potions. I can get some energy from these things, or I can get some HP back from those fountains, but it's going to be hard. It's going to be rough.
That's all it takes.
And it's probably something I'm not going to be able to do. I'll try though. Let's give it my best shot. Let's try with gun.
Received this gift. Give in, and I will make you see, old friend.
So now he's vulnerable. Let's score a critical hit on him.
This city holds great power, Victor. Join me, and we can take it for
So now he's vulnerable again. Score a critical hit in him. Now I need to get rid of these totems. But this game is actually pretty fun, I have to admit. It's a very fun game. But I just wish there were more to the loot. I wish there was more to the loot. The loot's only going to start getting fun when you start finding the legendary stuff. Up until then, the loot system is the equipment is pretty boring. And I'm someone that really loves like loot grinding games, but the only reason I would actually find loot is for the legendary stuff. But the only reason I would want loot is for the legendary stuff. But the only ways I found legendary equipment so far was just through the transmutation. That transmutation system where you combine different items together. I haven't actually found any legendary weapons on bosses, but I found legendary destiny cards and spells on bosses. But the spells you find later on in the game, the legendary spells you find, are going to be the same ones that you've been using throughout the rest of the game. They're just a higher rarity version with more damage to it. Alright, so I'm going to have to use that, get some regeneration. While my HP is regenerating, I'm just going to focus on attacking him. Alright, let's get that in there. Summon some meteors on him. I may just do this. I may just make this. But after I've killed this guy, I'm gonna show you the other characters for contrast. I'll show you my other character in the higher level just so you can see the difference between early game and late game. Or when, I wouldn't even say late game, I'll say when the grind begins. If you are going to be someone that is really into playing these games to actually look for equipment. And then you got the multiplayer that's added to it as well, so you can do it with your friends. Right, now there's more enemies on the field. I'm going to switch to my gun, get rid of a few of these guys. I just loved it. I love the shotgun because of that one skill that resets when you kill an enemy. Because it is a really powerful skill. Alright, now I need to get to this other fountain. Oh man. Oh, heal, stop jumping. Victor, what are you doing? Okay, so now he's vanished. While my health is regenerating, I should be able to finish this guy. Oh, there we go. Okay, so now all the loot is flying out of him. So generally when you're fighting bosses, that is where you'll find all the loot.
We fall to the darkness.
If you wanted to, you could always restart the area and fight the enemy again, or fight the boss again. But I don't know. I'd rather be finding those kind of things on just random enemies. That it just feels like, even though I've only been playing for 10 hours, I can't really say that too much. I just haven't found many good things, or any good things on anything other than champion enemies and bosses at all. And in games that I'm used to playing that are very loot focused, you generally find some good stuff on anything. You feel surprised when you find something on like any other mob. I just haven't had that yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to my other character, my other profile, and show you the differences between early game. You've seen what the early game looks like. I'm going to show you what post story looks like, or what my equipment and what the gameplay feels like or looks like after that. So let's take a look. Okay, now that I switched characters, I'm going to show you what this game is really all about. So first, let me just show you the transmutation quickly. So the way this works, I couldn't show you before, but the way this works is if you put 3 different bits of equipment inside of here, or 3 different cars, or 3 different of anything of a given type, you'll be able to randomly get, or you'll be able to get a better version of it. So I'm going to put 3 white ones inside of there, or 3 basic scythes in there, and hopefully I'll get a green one. Yep, so I got a green one. So you'll either have a low chance of getting a green one, or the one that's a higher rarity, or you'll get something that's the same rarity. So if I was to put 3 random green ones, they'll give me a random weapon type. That could be green or could be yellow. If you put 3 of the same weapon types in there, it will produce the same weapon type. So I got a scythe for doing that one. It wasn't a yellow one, but it was good enough. But you kind of get the gist of it. You can do the same for cards, you can do the same for your spells. So if I was to put 3 of the same type of spell in there, see if it will give me an advanced version of this spell, or if it will just give me a totally different one. So for the spells, it seems to work totally different. So it still gave me a gold, but it gave me a different type. So let me throw 3 meteors in there, 3 gold meteors, and see what they give me. I don't have a gold meteor, but I'll throw a time bubble in there. Gave me another Persian flame. Alright, let me put 3 Persian flames and see what it gives me then. A shockwave. But you kind of get the idea. You kind of get the idea. Another thing that they've added that you unlock further into the game are these hexes that I'm pretty sure I spoke a little bit about them earlier. But if you activate a hex, you will get a bonus to your EXP, and you'll have 5% more chance to actually find more items. But you buff the enemies while doing that. So there's a bit of a trade-off. You can either get better rewards, but the game's going to be much harder because you do that. But having these hexes on may solve my issue with the game not actually dropping a lot of loot from just your standard normal enemies. Maybe this will actually increase the chance of those enemies dropping loot as well. Alright, so I'm going to drop 3 gift boxes inside of here. These are the gift boxes that you get when you actually level up. So I'm going to put 3 in there, and hopefully I'll get one that's a higher rarity. Alright, so a gift box that is yellow. So I'm going to wait until I get 3 yellow ones, and then hopefully I'll be able to transform those into a gold one. Or into a legendary one. Or a purple. So these are all 2 different bits of equipment I've got. But I decided to wear this bit of equipment for now. Or this bit of equipment. I decided to wear this one for now, because it actually reduces the amount of overdrive I gain, which is what you actually need to actually cast your spells or cast your demonic magic. But I've got this one. You've got more armor, you've got more overdrive storage, and your overdrive doesn't diminish, but it actually decreases the amount of overdrive you can gain. But I've put this card in there to counteract that. So I've got 50% chance I've got 50% faster overdrive filling or charging. But you just saw me shoot something. This is a lightning gun, or it usually would be a lightning gun, but this is a legendary lightning gun. So it shoots rainbows. I've got a rainbow gun. Victor has a rainbow gun. So I've got a rainbow gun and I've got a legendary rapier. These do function differently. You'll have the same skills that you'll find on any other lightning gun and any other rapier, but they function differently. So the way they function differently is the rainbow gun, the shock attack uses a wider beam and that pierces enemies and doesn't overheat. Usually the lightning guns would overheat, so you'd have to recharge them, but these never overheat, so you can just continuously charge them and shoot waves of enemies down. But it stops the chain lightning from bouncing between enemies. So that's how this game, that's how the weapon actually functions differently from the other ones. But sometimes I just wonder, if is that actually enough? Is there still another tier of rarity that I haven't found yet? Is there still another tier of rarity above this that maybe will have unique skills? Maybe. So first things first, let me actually do the mission that I was gonna do before. After you completed the main storyline, you unlocked elite challenges as well. So you've got the standard challenges for when you go to the mission. These are the ones that you saw before. But then you have elite ones that you actually have to do once you've completed the game. So they're going to be slightly harder than the other challenges, but it gives you more of a challenge, or it gives you more to do after you finish the initial game. So there's a lot of replayability in there. You got a reason to go back to each area and do all the challenges they've got in there, because you got some pretty nice bonuses for it. But this is the same area I've done before, but let's see how it functions when I'm actually playing on a ridiculous character. This is more like, this is more you would expect from one of these kind of games. The ISO action RPG loot games. And you can see what I mean by this game not taking itself seriously at all. Rainbow guns, I mean, really. So one of the challenges, I got to slay monsters without using any potions. Or without using any demonic powers. So I'm gonna see if I can do that. I'm gonna see if I can do that. But I should be able to actually rush this. I'm pretty sure this is a trap. Boss will spawn us as that. Oh, there we go. No bosses though. It's just normal enemies. But just because I got better equipment doesn't mean the enemies are gonna be a walkover. They're still gonna hit pretty hard. So you saw this was the exact same area I was in before. But that doesn't really matter. That doesn't really matter. The enemies scale. The enemies scale. So now let me take my rapier out. My rapier is pretty nice because it recovers my health in each hit. So I don't actually need to use any potions with it. I have to say the game, as you get further into the game, it does get a lot more fun. But it's a in terms of the combat and in terms of the equipment and that kind of stuff, it is a bit of a slow start. That much is true. I'm gonna have to use a potion. I'm gonna have to use a potion. That challenge has failed. But it makes me wonder. I haven't actually faced the boss of this area again after I actually got my better equipment. But you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take off my rainbow gun and put on my scythe, my frost scythe, because that's where the fun is at. Using a rapier with a scythe, or this rapier and this scythe in particular. Alright, let me get some potion in there. Now I need to just try and remember exactly where this boss was located. It'd be nice if there was some sort of like marker system that I could use, but I really just want to get to the boss. I'm pretty sure it was down here. Alright, I can actually check the map. Okay, so I can just go straight up there. Alright, not too far now. So it's just straight up here. So I'll just fight these guys normally, and I'll get to the boss, and I'll fight him, and we'll see the difference between the original fight and what it's actually like post game with your actual better equipment. And I'm pretty sure you'll be able to find some better stuff than I've got at the moment. Much better stuff than I find, because this is what? This is only 10 hours into the game. This is only 10 hours into the game. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do this boss again. And let's see how different you actually are. So first things first, I'm going to poison them with my rapier. But hopefully this will be much quicker. So I'll put some armor on so I can take a few hits without losing any HP. I can just keep tanking it, but my shield is about to go down. So let's see how long I can keep this up for. Okay, now I'm gonna switch to the scythe. So this is where, these are the points where the weapon switching becomes really fun. And then you've got the different demonic powers that you can actually use as well that actually aid you in combat. Because I've got a life drain on this weapon, I can drain the HP from the enemy just by using my demonic powers. And I guess the enemy is draining my HP back with that. But what I will do is I'll equip another demonic power. You can actually just switch them on the fly when you're playing it offline. So I'm going to switch this to... Let's switch it to... this one, Time Bubble. I haven't really used this one much. This one slows down time on the enemy. Alright, look at him. He's moving all slow. And I can just focus on trying to finish him off while he's all in slow-mo. But you can see this is going it's going a lot smoother now. It's going a lot smoother at this point in the game. But it would be nice if they actually change the mechanics up a lot for like the future times you actually fight these bosses. Because the first time you fight these bosses, it's a bit of a challenge. When you start doing it the later times when you've really got better equipment, it's not so tough anymore. Because you're decked out on stuff. But I guess that is generally what hexes are going to be for. And I'm still yet to figure out whether or not the hexes actually have unique gear locked behind certain hexes. Alright, there we go. All that loot flying out. You got anything good for me? There we go. That is Victor Vran. That is Victor Vran. It should be on Steam right now, so you can go and pick it up if you'd like. And I will be doing some more videos of other games very soon. If you're not already subscribed and you want to see more videos of new games that are coming out and guides and overviews of certain games that I like to play long term, then I suggest you subscribe. And if you know anyone that you'd want to play this game with, then I suggest you send this video to them. Show them what Victor Vran is all about. All of you can play together, get loot together. But until my next video, I'll see you all later.